It was written, so we wrote it.
And now we spoke it.
A diagram in a stem
Of the lotus.
Disneyland history.
The teacher's hocus pocus.
Fully unlocked the mystery.
People need to know this.
And now we know it. It was written, so we wrote it.
And now we spoke it.
7 in the middle of a circle for opening. Disneyland history.
The teacher's hocus pocus.
Fully unlocked the mystery.
The people need to know this.
Now we know
No
this.
stagnation, we a star nation.
360 for the graduation, spinning in levitation, cross station rotation, stay grounded in all locations.
Head cover for the occasion, it's a war outside. Controls drop like shell cases. We repel cases with knowledge from a bookcase.
You can tell how they ride, fixing faces. You in the basement, lower self and pride, going up like staircases. Through faces we ride.
Like loaves of bread, hold your head, spoken word is sword, invoking lead. The reptile sheds their forehead on my Air Forces. Leather seats like Moroccan bosses, my will don't cross it.
Drink the water from this faucet, lost try to proceed with caution. Keep the treaties in a piece like documents up in the office.
Up in the process of claiming names and filling goblets, gripping hands with Moors like Devin Daniels with their gauntlet. It's promise, back to our rightful places. My nation's marching, no squatting, unless we talking bars and barks there.
Out in the tropics, empire rising, I can stop it. This Moorish paradigm, hurt your feelings, but it's logic.
I'm locked in, like Neo locked in, the Hashem doctrine, lyrical slap boxing, Tyson Ali and Hopkins.
We in the pit, Martian, I keep all type of options, chopping up the block, then hit the bullseye spot.
Steam out the nostril, they ride not, noble men get robbed now. We not guapping cop plots with avocado crowd.
X marks the spot like clocks in parking lot. That's where the cipher starts on it buzz. It's posted off, so take notice. I got a mission that I'm on, aiming at the Albion. Ema disco with olive oil on a disco dance floor, sliding like it's Clisco. Yeah, man, know the Moorish paradox, shining like a paradigm. Stand on 10 toes, they overthrowing paradise. We taking notice, yo. Noble Drew Ali brought the prophecy to NBC. Open, lock, and key, and notice how we be in person properly. A lot on like the Mali, Islam, Fararaji, Ali. I'm the Omega mate. I came to demonstrate. Salt and pepper, season up your plate. Occupy your proper place amongst the human race. The current state is hate. Blurry lost the way I came to educate. Dark energy violate. Violence to orchestrate. Violence and operate. Population populate your rifle space. Overcoming opposition. Obstacles obliterate. Pure and clean nation state. Narrow straight. Take notice. Take notes.
Survival is not a rival to a wise fool. I fertilize you when I drop the shit with them whites do. Steam blowing out the nostril, the sun ride you. Ambassador place, Morocco flags when we slide through. Divine truth, undeniable, y'all give it right to recite truth. I'm climbing out of Rome with my Bible. Freedom a big move, the sheep can stay if they like to. But I am nothing like you, so I'm not obliged to. And GMO rappers getting faker than our food. I did close the gate, determine the fate of these wild fools who bars amount to the street value of 3 volumes without 3D valuables. My bars will speak volume. Entertainment can't contain my men or contaminate my mind. I'm walking straight when I'm bent. Wring their neck from North Shore to Bangladesh. And every day to pass over, it ain't safe for kids. I'm explosive, dynamite, far from novice. Consider this affidavit, don't just post it in your subconscious. Weeding out the rap nonsense when I drop no responses. What's the problem? My naga, I'm a novelist. I'm not a novice knocking nonsense. When I navigate, that does not exist. They delay the process for paper profits. What say the prophet? Let's save the conscience. What's profit? Take notice.
It was written, so we wrote it.
And now we spoke it.
A diagram in a stem
Of the lotus.
Disneyland history.
The teacher's hocus pocus.
Fully unlocked the mystery.
People need to know this.
And now we know it. It was written, so we wrote it.
And now we spoke it.
7 in the middle of a circle for opening. Disneyland history.
The teacher's hocus pocus.
Fully unlocked the mystery.
The people need to know this.
Now we know this.
Too many cowards, I don't see enough bravery. Some of y'all gonna fall for the slavery. Who you claim to be is a label C. It's the way you think and the way you speak. In a low, shallow grave where they buried me. Till I rose from the dead, now they scared of me. And they better be no trespassing. Put the axe down, boy, that's my cherry tree. Put the axe down, boy, that's my cherry tree. Put the axe down, boy, that's my cherry tree. In a low, shallow grave where they buried me. Till I rose from the dead, now they scared of me. And they better be no trespassing.
tree still has Massachusetts nervous. On the highway, you saw it, but no shots fired, but turncoats. So watch black and Moorish liars. Cherry tree on my ID and chest patches center. Cherry tree in the sky calls all more Avengers. Red, the cherry, 5-point green star, the leaves. Used to suffocate thieves or conquer beliefs. Master fruition, cause dirty Moors deceive with corpse banners before Moroccan cherry trees. Lying and call it a flag of the kingdom first, then boasting $11 million net worth. 10 to 50,000 years old, we're told, till you check the commas or talk to Brahmas. Curved axe head symbology is lunar. Touch my cherry tree now. Watch us scalp them sooner.
Too many cowards, I don't see enough bravery. Some of y'all gonna fall for the slavery. Who you claim to be is a label C. It's the way you think and the way you speak. In a low, shallow grave where they buried me. Till I rose from the dead, now they scared of me. And they better be no trespassing. Put the axe down, boy, that's my cherry tree. Put the axe down, boy, that's my cherry tree. Put the axe down, boy, that's my cherry tree. In a low, shallow grave where they buried me. Till I rose from the dead, now they scared of me. And they better be no trespassing. Put the axe down, boy, that's my cherry tree.
You must have took a wrong turn. This is more land, not India. You got wrong words. No jurisdiction, so they conjure a way to take your nationality and confer. A dead status, dead man tell no tales. But draw lead, brought it off so you can't fail. A bill is not a law, apparently you can't spell. They want to steal and rob it all and tell you that you can't sell. Like today, speak up and get canceled. I'm on more than a law for the handheld. Some pain I can speak, but you can't feel. Some pain runs deep, give me cold chills. Tap into the power of yourself. Memory locked down in your cells. Remember being stressed out in a cell. Wise up and switch teams, no NFL. Cause it's not a game, and I'm not insane. That's an Inquisition tactic that you're playing. Give you second evaluation just cause they can. If you don't understand, then ain't no getting past. The gatekeepers push the line, say truth is banned. Nowadays life is good, yeah I'm feeling grand. But still dealing with colonists on the land. Unity the way the solid problem at hand. What you mean you live in a corporation? Morocco the empire where we're stationed. Morocco the empire, we a nation. My cherry tree got the whole world shaking. Moorish American, not Puerto Rican. It's like you can't sit still when I'm speaking. Too much truth got your whole soul tweaking. Put the axe down, boy, you the heathen.
Too many cowards, I don't see enough bravery. Some of y'all gonna fall for the slavery. Who you claim to be is a label C. It's the way you think and the way you speak. In a low, shallow grave where they buried me. Till I rose from the dead, now they scared of me. And they better be no trespassing. Put the axe down, boy, that's my cherry tree. Put the axe down, boy, that's my cherry tree. Put the axe down, boy, that's my cherry tree. In a low, shallow grave where they buried me. Till I rose from the dead, now they scared of me. And they better be no trespassing. Put the axe down, boy, that's my cherry tree.
Hey, what you think? If you should lose,
The Sufi mystic T-Floor from the hype Moorish tradition. Perpendicular position, no longer in that mummy state. They lied to us, said we got shipped from miles away. But the old back heads look just like me. The flow a gift like Patriot, St. Maurice. That's charitable, these lands inheritable. We're virgin of a state inevitable. So stop the street, I'm on a plane out of your reach. And I ain't talking Delta seats. All metaphysics with a well-blended civics. We colleagues, not lieutenants. This got them jealous like Musa bin Nusayr. Drew Ali revelation, Luke Moors is here. Displaying the art, Khalifa society, make sure y'all
Moorish master MC, also a grand sheep. Delectable Negro, barbecue and the clan meat. See me in my fairs, won't mistake me for black man. I'm colored, might assume I'm a Masonic brother. Brown chronic lover, either roll of edible supper. Vibrate at a high rate, turn to a dimension jumper. Hit the soul plane, quick build with the prophet. Get back to the earth plane, dismissed on the docket. Magistrate lane, environment janitor, bring the comment. No bond paid, temple gets a deposit. Sketch not composite, left for witness, left blue on the litmus. Get altitude sickness, so high on your head. Whenever I spit this, I'm the type to forget, so you get no forgiveness. Business is strictly like Eric and Parrish. Moreno is my status if you're speaking in Spanish. Man or vanish when I draw from the chalice. Looking like the paintings of Arabs. Tiger head rug in the palace, accepting your challenge. challenge. Final glove slap since you thought I was average.
What you said? If you should lose, oh yeah,
The Sufi mystic T-Pro from the hype Moorish tradition. Perpendicular position, no longer in that bummy state. They lied to us, said we got shipped from miles away. But the old back heads look just like me. The flow a gift like patron, same race. That's charitable, these lands inheritable. We're virgin of a state inheritable. So stop being sheep, I'm on a plane out of your reach. And I ain't talking Delta seats. All metaphysics with a well-blended civics. We colleagues, not lieutenants. This got him jealous like Musa bin Nusayr. Drew Ali revelation, Luke Morris is here. Displaying the art, Khalifa society, make sure you're
Moorish master MC, also a grand sheep. Delectable Negro, barbecue and the clan meat. See me in my fans, won't mistake me for black man. I'll call it might assume I'm a Masonic brother. Brown chronic lover, eagle roll, edible supper. Vibrate at a high rate, turn to a dimension jumper. Hit the soul plane, quick build with the prophet. Get back to the earth plane, dismissed on the docket. Magistrate lane, environment janitor, bring the comment. No bond paid, temple gets a deposit. Sketch not composite, left no witness, left blue on the litmus. Get altitude sickness, so high on your head. Whenever I spit this, I'm the type to forget, so you get no forgiveness. Business is strictly like Eric and Parrish. Moreno is my status if you're speaking in Spanish. Man or manish when I draw from the chalice. Looking like the paintings of Arabs. Tiger head rug in the palace, accepting your challenge. Final glove slap since you thought I was average. Carried by 1,000 scarabs over the hot sand. Last name comes from Moors that rule Scots land. Black or Moors you thought Elizabeth got banned. Drew Ali name known again was not planned. Try to call me Indian, no that will not stand. Forget to say the prayer, now I feel I'm in Copland. Forgot the amethyst, start rubbing on stone shaman. Cause a glitch in the matrix, stop feds from charging. Body frozen walking past, the eyes enlarging. With a ray gun like Marvin Martian. That's all folks when we activate carbon. End it all like arson, or your face on a carton.
I'm a Moorish American man, national. 360 degrees is added to my arsenal. Like a carpenter, got me building temples, but mentally. Noble Jew, I lead the measure and stick your activities. I came here to predicate, change the negativity. Precisely, my purpose is to uplift humanity. So why you mad at me? Cause you know I'm a more 2,000 years with the prophet like I been here before. Go ahead and diss the prophet cause you're so immature. When justice come knock at your door, bodies will hit the floor. Like a fofo, puzzle your brain just like a jigsaw. Musti cut your head off and did we play ping pong? Looking through the peephole cause you hear the ding dong. I don't sing songs, I'm the champ with no rings on. Concrete jungle gives a fuck about King Kong. I'm ready to go and when I die I scream out yeehaw like kid y'all. Cause my last verse would be Islam. What up more, my higher self is keeping me this calm.
If delusional was a person. No, if living La Viva Loca was an actual person, it would be this person on the screen. So I'm checking out my Yahoo mail, and a news story came across of a person who claimed to be sovereign. You know, the same old story that we heard with Corinne Gaines, the young woman who was killed by police back in 2016, mother of 2 beautiful children. She was a young 23-year-old woman who also claimed to be a Moor and claimed to be a sovereign.
No, who also got murdered by European colonists. How come they don't talk about that part? How come these people who always got something to talk about Moors, they never ever, 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 ever talk about the European colonists who are violating the law? Never do they talk about the European colonists. Never do they talk about the European colonists Only people who talk about the European colonists is actually Moors. So they're talking about white people did something. They ain't talking about no European colonists. They're talking about the policeman did something. They're not talking about some European colonists. They never bring up the European colonists violating. Never. They always got some BS to say about Moors. And then, you know for a fact that as soon as they start bringing up Corin Gaines and they start bringing up, well, look, Moorish militia, look what happened to them and all that stuff. As soon as they start going there, you already know that these people are sent and they have an agenda. You know that they're sent and they have an agenda. Corin Gaines didn't even say she was a Moor. She didn't say she was a Moor. Somebody pull up the video where Corin Gaines said that she's a Moor. But this is what they do. The job is to get the dummies, the incompetent people, the people on the fence, the ones who really don't know what's going on, but they think they know what's going on because they listen to some Yusuf L or somebody. They listen to some dirty Moor out there telling them about some packages or something like that. They think they know something when they don't know jack. They don't know a goddamn thing. They shouldn't even be talking. But they want to get the people away from this information because they know that this is the saving grace. They know that once Noble Drew Ali comes up, all these people become unimportant. As soon as Noble Drew Ali comes up, everybody becomes not relevant. So they're going to do everything in their power, and they've been doing everything in their power at least since 2012. We can say at least 2012. They started this campaign of talk shit about Moors. At least 2012. Because like we talk about on numerous occasions, prior to 2012, there were no dirty Moors going live, and there were no dirty Moors doing classes, and there were no dirty Moors saying anything. All of them were in hiding. All of them. I don't know where they got the confidence from to start going live and all that stuff all of a sudden after 2012. Pre-2012, only master teachers were out here putting out information. No one else was putting out any information. Now, all you new people, you're in trouble. You better find yourself some Moors who are sincere about this and all that, and get with them and start studying, because their job is to cause confusion, and that's all they've been about. Cause confusion. Have the Moorish paradigm look like it ain't what it is because they said so, when you didn't even talk to a Moor who's been in this 10, 15 years to see what this is about. You listen to somebody who just came yesterday. Well, you listen to somebody who came yesterday. Who goes to university to have the guy in first year university teach them to get their degree? Who does that? No one. Only dummies. But it's okay, because some Moors out here, we have scimitars and stuff like that. And Joali said don't carry a pocket knife because we have the tongue sword. And we're going to rip these people. We're going to rip all these people to shreds. And then when they're in the bloody pile or whatever like that, then here come well, those are your brothers. Why you do that to your brothers? That's your sister. Why are you doing that? No, they're not. That's not Allah and man that I'm looking at. That's dumb nigger talking crazy about Moors. They know quoting the Quran with it. Allah and man, when man honors man, he honors Allah and all that stuff with these people. You don't honor these people. There ain't no Allah and man in these people. These people are traitors and sellouts. They don't get honors. And only because we know that their family or whoever is gonna go run down on us with some highwaymen or whatever like that, that we don't send people for these people. And more, as I've said, GS, just say the word, we'll go for these people. No, but you have children, more. We're not getting you out of circulation from your children for these traitors. We'll just put the word out on them and let that be the Shemitah for now. Because your children need you. So we're not going to send you out there risking your life to go murder these people because they're talking crazy about Noble Jew Ali and Moors and sovereignty and everything else. So we want you to know, as soon as you hear them start talking about there's no such thing as sovereignty and the Moors this and the Moors that or whatever like that, and they're not even Moors. It's not like they were, well, I was a Moor and then I stopped being a Moor, so now I'm talking shit about Moors. It's not even that. These people, they don't even know, they can't even spell Moor. They can't even spell Moor. They don't even know what Moor means. They don't even own a dictionary. Don't listen to these people. Don't hear them. But we're going to use them as a beating stick. We're going to use them as a piñata. And then you make the choice what side you're on. Because we're letting you know that it's scalping season for all these traders out here. It's been scalping season. It's not just start scalping yesterday. It's been scalping season.
Person who claimed that she did not need a driver's license, nor did she have to respect the laws of the United States of America. So the little that I know about the Moors are they were supposed to be black people who were kings and queens back from the 13th.
Stop the dumb stuff. How are Moors kings and queens when they had control of an empire? Kings and queens rule empires? Since when? Since when a king and a prostitute rule an empire? Since when? Here's all you people out there who playing the queen BS. You know, queen means prostitute. Hussy. Since when a hussy runs an empire? These people tell you any BS. Don't let these people tell you any BS about Moors. Just like Taj said, as soon as they're gonna do the operation and they pull out the butter knives that are rusty and all that stuff on the fly infested cloth, you better not be lying down for these people to operate on you. You better have more intelligence than that. You better. Because if you don't be coming running to Moors after you get fucked over. Don't be coming running to Moors talking about, can you help me out in this situation? Because I listened to that guy over there and then he told me $5,000 and I paid him and then the stuff didn't work and they're about to kick my door in right now, and what am I supposed to do? Well, how come you're not calling that dumbass you gave $5,000 to? You're not calling them? Why aren't you calling them? Why are you calling sincere, righteous Moors and not the dirty Moors who sold you the package when stuff doesn't go right?
18th to 17th century, they were supposed to have immaculate kingdoms that they ran. And also the men, of course, had their preferences, the same preferences that they have today. And they intermingled with these women, which caused the genocide of the race of people. So now these people appear to be non-black people. So yes, supposedly black men were wifing these women. They were having black women work as indentured servants to these women. And that was what caused the downfall of the Moor kingdom. So, but when I looked on the internet, they said that the Moors were just black servants who were originally enslaved by North Africans who worked in...
Hold on, the Moors are kings and queens, but they're black servants. Isn't that a contradiction? How are they kings and queens, and then their black servants? How? Remember, keep in mind that the Moors lost their power because one Moor sold out. He just gave up the keys. And his mom spit in his face and called him a traitor. One Moor sold out. All these other Moors with European women and all that stuff like that, that's a separate group that has nothing to do with anything. That's a separate group of Moors. Those are Moors who were involved with the slave trade of these Europeans. Moors that were involved in the slave trade with these Europeans, who had the Moorish harems and all that stuff, and having European males mad because their European wife wants to get the African mandingo and all that stuff, leaving them to go be with the Moors. European males mad because they went to war and they came back and their wife's gone. Because these select group of Moors. So don't put that stuff on all Moors as if all Moors were with European women or something. Stop the BS. And when you really check it, it's more Negro black color with European women than Moors today. So stop the BS.
In wealthy European households from the 15th and 18th century. So I don't really know what the truth is. Nonetheless, let's get into this news story of this so-called Moor sovereign woman. This is fair use.
Right now, a North Georgia woman is out of jail this afternoon after claiming American laws don't apply to her. Police say they apply to her and also apply to her fake ID. Channel 2's Gwinnett County Bureau Chief Tony Thomas live in Duluth with video of her encounter with police. Tony.
And Linda, this is a copy of that fake ID police say she gave them. It's called the American Global ID and Liberty Pass. Expires February 2199. Doesn't have a birth date on it for Joyce Marie, but arrived on Earth date. Now the back of it, well, is basically a warning for cops to back off, and says it comes from the Continental Sidereal Republic.
Where to say more there? So as soon as somebody says sovereign, as soon as somebody says American, as soon as somebody puts up a red flag with a green star or a red flag with a white canton and a pine tree and all that stuff, that means that they're more? No, it doesn't. Because the language doesn't say anything relative to more. So when we go to Duluth Police Department on their Facebook page or whatever, and they're out here showing this so-called ID and Officer Kang, good job for stopping the sovereigns and all that stuff. Ain't nowhere that this stuff says more anything. This is not more anything. More nothing on this. More nothing. Now, how are you American, first of all? Of course this is fraud. These aren't Moors. These are people trying to get off on stuff. These are people that have no honor. Because the only way that you're going to have some stuff like this is if you just went online and tried to pull off something. And then you're pulling off something because, first of all, how are you talking about this stuff expires in 2199 and you're already 50? Like what are you talking about? Why would you even have an expiry date if the expiry date is going to be after you transition? Doesn't make any sense. Why are you saying American? Why are you saying global ID when ID is a corporate tag? That's an acronym. Ain't nobody saying ID. Jolly said membership and identification card. You know, membership and ID. Go to Liberty Pass. Why do you need a pass for Liberty? A little after 1 a.m., Corporal Kang stopped a vehicle after he observed it failed to maintain its lane by crossing over the solid white lines on Peachtree Industrial Avenue. Believing the driver may be impaired, he stopped the vehicle. Before Corporal Kang could identify himself to the driver immediately began screaming at him through the driver's side window, which was rolled up. After numerous lawful commands by Corporal Kang, the driver ultimately showed a customized identification card and placed it against the window. After several minutes into the investigation and a fake name given to officers finally identified the driver who had a suspended license, an active warrant for their arrest, and was driving while impaired. The 55-year-old was charged with driving under the influence of drugs, driving while suspended license to be displayed upon demand by law enforcement, driving without license on person, possession of marijuana, failure to maintain lane, outstanding warrant. So if you're a dumbass, right? You're going to get into this information and you're going to play this thing like, oh, well, now that I have this information, I don't have to deal with any of my responsibilities that I've taken on, and I can just have this new name, and then now I got this ID with this new name, and now I don't have to worry about anything anymore because now I have this ID with the new name. That's how the traders teach you. The traders teach you, oh, you don't got nothing to do with that. That has nothing to do with you. Even though you've been that for the past 55 years, the 56th year, you found out about this info, and now you're a sovereign because, no, you're not. You're still dumb nigger because your dumbass went and paid for some package. Your dumbass didn't even study before you went and got the stuff. You just went and bought something offline or something, some goofball online selling IDs because you got a warrant. You don't want to man up and go deal with your responsibilities like a grown individual. You want to play runaway slave still. I thought you're sovereign. Why are you running? It's like these goofballs running from highwaymen. Where you running? They're in cars. Where are you running to? Where are you going? You running somewhere? What do you mean you're talking to them through the window and the window's up? What if you're sovereign, why are you not just showing your stuff? Why are you playing? Oh, because you didn't have any knowledge. You're doing stuff based on emotion. You're doing stuff because you sat at somebody's dumbass class and they had a good game running and they tickled you in that spot that you like. And they, ooh, this is so good and all that stuff. And then you went and bought some package and now you're dealing with them and now you don't know how to deal with them. And then you're getting yourself in a worse mess than if you would have just went and paid the $20 ticket. You could have just went and paid the $20 ticket and not have any issues. Why are you running from these people? How is it getting to the point where they're saying that, oh yeah, you got a fake name now. Now you got driving under the influence. What influence? What were you doing? What were you doing that they're coming up with you're under the influence of something? How are you under the influence of something? Aren't you supposed to have due care and all that stuff? Didn't a sovereign manual tell you to have due care? Why would you be impaired out there thinking that you could do this stuff just because you got this ID from these guys over here telling you that you're American. What the hell is American? What's that? What's American? What is that? Is there anything named that on the planet? Anybody? Anybody else gonna come around here and say that they're American? No, only these dumbasses trying to cause confusion. Because they know people are gullible out here. They know people are desperate. They know they could dangle a carrot in front of an idiot and they're gonna say, oh, a carrot. And then they're gonna start chasing the carrot, not even know the carrot's on a string on a pole, and then they're gonna be chasing the carrots around. Get themselves in some BS. And then now they make the news, and now Moors who haven't had any issues for 10, 15 years, now people are looking at you funny now. Because of some idiot online trying stuff. I mean, you're trying stuff. And you know that it's a campaign to F the sincere Moors because they put this stuff up. How come they didn't put up the stuff of the Moors that they let go? Where's those dash cam footage at? Where's the dash cam footage of the Moors who they let go? How come they don't upload that to the news? How come the news is never saying, oh, we got one for you today. Highwayman Jeffries stopped this guy with his own tags and no ownership and no license. And he actually had to let him go because that was a Moor. How come that doesn't make the news? You don't get why that doesn't make the news? You don't realize only the dumb stuff makes the news? You didn't realize?
The woman identified as Joyce Marie Beasley refused to roll down her window for the Duluth officer and claimed she didn't need a driver's license to, quote, maneuver.
And you had no right to pull me over, so there you go. Look at that. I don't want to talk.
What's your... Do you have your driver's license with you?
Police ultimately did pull Beasley out of her car, but not without continued protest.
Move out of the way. I'm going to get out.
You
Move, I'm
step
going
out.
to kick your...
She was obviously very irate, being stopped and asked if she was being detained, and the officer on scene said yes, she was, and he handled it appropriately.
Beasley at one point called a man who identified himself as the Consulate General of the Nation of Moors.
Oh, Consulate General? Another one? Another one. Another one? How many consulate generals are there right now? And how come none of them could do what they're supposed to do? How is he a consulate general of the Moors? I thought this was an American thing. This doesn't have nothing to do with Moors. They ain't say Moors anywhere. Their identification doesn't say Moors on it. How is it that they're calling somebody else? The somebody else that they're calling is saying that they're consulate general, but then they still have mugshots of her and all that stuff, and she got kidnapped. Doesn't that obviously mean that this stuff doesn't work? That these people playing consulate, these people playing your sovereign leader, whoever, these people playing the right-handed God of the plane of reality, stuff doesn't work? These people are playing games to get you to think that the Moorish stuff doesn't work because look, this is what's happening. Look what's happening when people say that they're Moors. No, this is not people saying that they're Moors. These are people who bought some package or something. These aren't people who have sovereignty. These are people who are playing games. Because I guarantee you, all these individuals, whether it's plates they got, whether it's ID they got, whether it's paperwork they got, guaranteed they bought a $1,200 to $5,000 package. And as soon as you buy it, that means it's not sovereignty. As soon as you buy it, that means it's not rights. You can't buy rights. You can't buy, get on the list so police don't bother me when you got outstanding warrant. You got outstanding warrant. Or if any more's got anything to add, just push the button. And you can get on here and speak your piece if you will. The point of Moorish nationality is for you to know thyself. You can't buy know thyself. You can't buy rights. Anybody trying to sell you rights, know automatically that you're about to get played. This is not a new occurrence. This is something that's been going on. This is something that we've been addressing. Because we know that it's a campaign. We know without a shadow of a doubt that it's a campaign. Without a shadow of a doubt. Because like we're saying, you're going to go watch all these news stuff. You're going to watch all these people who have something to say about Moors. And when you go check the Moors that they're talking about that got caught up in some BS, they bought a package. Guarantee you they bought a package. Guarantee you they weren't just a Moor out here studying and they got pulled over and their stuff was on the news. Guarantee they bought a package. As soon as they got ID and then you see them say, well, the ID had no birth date on it. It didn't have a picture on it. It didn't have it. You already know that they bought a package. As soon as they start making up stuff, Liberty Pass, what is that? I thought it's right to travel. If you have right to travel, then why you need a pass? What is this, a hallway? You need what do you mean you need a pass? You need a pass? How do you need a pass if it's liberty? It's liberty. It's a right. You need a pass for a right. Well, you need a pass for a right. That sounds like slave trade. That sounds like somebody's a slave. It sounds like somebody's a slave. Because if it's liberty, okay, let's go back to 12 years a slave. Right, 12 years a slave. And then he was walking in the woods. And then the brother was about to get lynched. And then they said, hey, nigger, where's your pass? And then he gave him the pass. He said, okay, fine. You can go wherever you're going or whatever like that. And then the nigger about to get lynched is looking at him. And he's looking at him. And they're like, well, you're not going to do nothing to help me here, brother? And all that stuff. And then he can't do anything because he's nigger. And dude just has to get lynched. There's no such thing as a Liberty Pass. That's a fiction. Liberty Pass is a lie. Do not detain list and all that stuff, that's a lie. There's no do not detain list. How you want a do not detain list? obviously the people who make the list are the authority then, if it's like that. Obviously you're not the authority. Because if there's a list and you're going on it, and then the people who told you, hey, give us whatever, like, hey, you get this card, you're going to be on the do not detain list, and they never showed you the list to show you that your name is on it, obviously they're playing games with you. Obviously they're playing games with you. But this is what happens when the people don't have a prophet. This is what happens when the people don't have a solid rock of foundation to take their first step on. Now, if your solid rock of foundation is quicksand, you're in trouble. The fact that you're up to your neck with warrants and whatever else, you're already in trouble. And you should have reached for the bushes over there and try to pull yourself out of the BS that you got yourself into, because you should have been seeing that it was quicksand right there. Should have been seeing that it was quicksand right there. You should all be looking at the grass. Hey, that grass is moving funny. I'm not going to step there. You're testing it out to see. Now you have yourself in some BS now. Now you have yourself in some BS. Look what you got yourself into. Messing with people who are claiming that they're Moors. Claiming that they're sovereignty, claiming that they have this card for you, that once you get this card, you're going to be able to be free to do whatever you want. And
she spent 2 days in jail before when called a man who identified himself as the consulate general of the nation of Moors.
She has the right to travel. Okay. She's not United States citizen.
Right, and look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Right, look at this. Identified himself as the consulate general of the nation of Moor. What the hell is that? What nation of Moor is that? What do you mean nation of Moor? What's that mean? They don't know how to spell Moor? These are the people that they're using to say that they got one on the Moors. Look, they're not even talking about Moors. M-O-R-E is not Moors. Now your Moors that are in the Americas, claiming that we're the Aboriginal indigenous people and got proclamations and all that stuff. That M-O-R-E is not who we are.
Police disagreed, and after they say they found some marijuana in her car, she spent 2 days in jail before making bond.
This appears to be like a sovereign citizen. She claimed that she doesn't need a...
Right. Yes, this appears to be some sovereign citizen, whatever. But that doesn't apply to all Moors. That applies to people who do this BS. People who buy packages, that appears to be the sovereign citizen stuff. These guys claiming that they're law enforcement, that appears to be the sovereign citizen stuff. But that doesn't apply to Moors across the board. Because if I don't have ID that look like hers, me and her aren't the same. Stop all that BS. If she's riding around, no turban, no fez, but you're pulling out nationality card or liberty pass or whatever like that, claiming that you got some authority, what authority? You're not even dressed like your ancient foremothers and forefathers. You're not even in habit. How are you not in habit? And then you're trying to use Moorish stuff to get out of the BS that you got yourself into. How? And I guarantee if we check her ID and all that stuff, we realize that she ain't got no habit on in that either. Which again is going to let these mercenaries know that these people are playing games.
ID to travel or driver's license to maneuver, she claimed.
I just don't want nobody trying to kidnap me, and that's what I'm being done is kidnap.
Now, we tried tracking Beasley down, but couldn't find anyone in Georgia listed by that name. Live in Duluth, Tony Thomas, Channel 2 Action News.
Miss Ma'am, since we really don't know what your real name is, you done had one of your kings make you up one of these fake IDs and laminate it in your kitchen and call yourself being able to tell the government of the United States of America.
What government of the United States of America is she talking about? What's the government of the United States of America? Brazil is the United States of America. She ain't talking about them. Nicaragua is the United States of America. She's not talking about them. Why do these incompetent people keep calling modern, foreign, colonial, inquisitionist Europeans United States of America as if they're from here? They're not from here. How are they United States of America? These are European colonists. They are colonial bodies. They are not a government. They are not the government. They're colonists. They know themselves that they're colonists. But it's always the incompetent people that have something to say. It's always the don't know thyself people that have something to say when they shouldn't even be talking. They shouldn't even be talking. They should see things and then send it to Moors to deal with. Don't say anything. You see something going on? Some type of sovereign looking thing? Don't make comments. Don't start judging Moors and all that stuff. Shut the hell up. Send it to a Moor and tell a Moor, hey, could you address this? Because I'm not clear what's going on here. How come they arrested her? Why did they whatever? And then the Moors would go look at the news broadcast or whatever it is, and then we give a report as to what's going on. And then more than likely, report's going to come back. These people are colonists, first of all, so they shouldn't even be stopping people. I don't care what they think somebody did, especially if they look Asiatic, they shouldn't be stopping them. And then the other side of it is after they get stopped, and then they give their little credentials and all that stuff, and then we're going to check the credentials and see, oh boy, another consulate, whoever, another whatever, another Moorish nation founded by some guy, some man founded a nation. And then you know that they're a fraud too. But recognize that the whole game of these two frauds is to get you to think that this Moorish stuff is some BS. Because you're going to say, well, they ain't got arrested, so I'm not going to be a Moor. And they say, well, if the highwayman's going to whatever, well, if the card doesn't work, then I don't want to be a Moor. And you go around, you take this American whatever, right? You take this. If you take this stuff right here, if you take this and you flash that around, guarantee you, no Moor is going to pull out one of these. Guarantee. No sincere, de jour, studious Moor is going to pull out one of these and say, oh yeah, I got one like that. Guarantee you. No Moor that's studying is going to pull out one of those. Not one Moor who studies is going to pull out one of those. No Moor is going to pull out a Liberty Pass. Not one. No Moor is going to say they're American. What's your nationality? American. American. Now don't get it messed up. Because, again, like the master teacher told us years ago, you can put your nationality card on used toilet paper, and these people are supposed to accept it as your identification. And they're not supposed to bother you because you have a right to identify. You're in your own land. Yeah, you should be able to go print the stuff on the printer at your house, cut it out, laminate it, and use that as ID and not have issues. Yeah, you're supposed to be able to do that because you're in your own land. And these people are colonists and they're foreigners. The problem is that they started thinking like the colonists till Noble Drew Ali started dropping it. And majority of these people who are selling you any type of identification or any type of packages or whatever like that, they do not honor, they do not respect, they do not hold in high regard Noble Drew Ali. They don't even mention him. Noble Drew Ali is non-existent in these people's vocabulary when they start talking about they got some package to sell you. They never bring him up. Because they all know that once you bring up Noble Drew Ali, they are no more. As soon as you bring up Noble Drew Ali, they're no more. As soon as you bring up Noble Drew Ali, these people are mute. And that's how it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be. Because even to this day, he still hasn't gotten his honors that he's supposed to get from the 20s. Still hasn't gotten his honors. That's why we say all these honors that you're giving to all these other fakers out here claiming to be your leaders, take your honors back and give Noble Drew Ali his props. Because without him, you wouldn't even be around today saying you're conscious. Because all that conscious stuff that people are talking about, all that know thyself stuff people are talking about is coming from people who were part of Moorish Science Temple of America and left and turned traitors and started telling you that you're everything except Moors. Everyone. So even the conscious whoever's owe Noble Drew Ali in compounded interest. Because they wouldn't be able to be playing their little games that they're playing if it wasn't for Noble Drew Ali. We know this. Give the man his honors. Give the respect where the respect is.
Read off we pay every day. Uplift the fee cause we all pays. We enforce the law and we all pay. Forefathers from before is still today. Reading my Quran and my Torah. Universal laws in more rays. Read 4 chapters, receive it 4 ways. Great divine love rules our verse. Before I circle blocks, man, I circle 7s first. You bust the image, but your rhymes hurt. You clear 13 disrespected earth. Love, but it's all in God's plan. Today's mathematics don't judge a man. Unity of life, embodiment of truth. I'm responsible for every deed, cause I seen the proof. Noble Drew X, do I have to draw it out for you? Cause nationality is not a color I can use. Jerry Spruce, standing on my square, even without shoes. On the highest authority, spirit of blue. Marcus Coffee, whirlwind times 2. The world's in the wind when the trumpet blew.
Stand up, go into your bathroom. If you got a big floor to stare at ceiling, cut the light on and stare and take a good hard look at yourself. You are the Moorish government, you know, and it took me a long time to get to understand that concept. I self-law am master. If I can govern myself, if I can govern my household, that's what I should be doing. Why should I walk out of my door and then leave everything that I know about myself in the house to go out and adopt something that I have no knowledge thereof. Offense. So we need to stop asking that question. I ask myself this question: if not me, then who?
Death and wisdom, my friends, intelligent creatures, guardians of sacred knowledge, Olmec features, secrets of the afterlife, manifest the present day. Dirty Moors and scoundrels lose their heads in a pleasant way. Deceit and deception, negative past thoughts, keeps awareness on point, spirit messages never off.
Reka! North Star! That way, the North Star's that way. Canaanland moves. Read off pay every day. Uplift the feet cause we all base. We enforce the law and we obey. Forefathers from before and still today. Reading my Quran and my Torah. Universal laws in more ways. Read 4 chapters, receive it 4 ways. Great divine love rules our verse. Before I circle blocks, man, I circle sevens first. You bust the image, but your rhymes hurt. Declare 13 disrespected earth. Love, but it's all in God's plan. Today's mathematics don't judge a man. Unity of life, embodiment of truth. I'm responsible for every deed, cause I seen the proof. No, but true. X. Do I have to draw it out for you? Cause nationality is not a color I can use. Jerry Spruce, standing on my spirit, even without shoes. On the highest authority, spirit of blue. Marcus Coffee, whirlwind times 2. The world's in the wind when the trumpet blew.
Stand up, go into your bathroom. If you got a big floor to ceiling, cut the light on and stare and take a good hard look at yourself. You are the Moorish government. You know, and it took me a long time to get to understand that concept. I self-law am master. If I can govern myself, if I can govern my household, that's what I should be doing. Why should I walk out of my door and then leave everything that I know about myself in the house to go out and adopt something that I have no knowledge thereof? Offense. So we need to stop asking that question. I ask myself this question: if not me, then who?
Death and wisdom, my friends, intelligent creatures, guardians of sacred knowledge, Olmec features, secrets of the afterlife, manifest the present day. Dirty Moors and scoundrels lose their heads in a pleasant way. Deceit and deception, negative past thoughts, keeps awareness on point, spirit messages never off. Inner realizations, encounter the higher selves, next plane existence, explains my consistence. Without a foe you never know, so past most resistant. Divinity, my twin flame, side chick and mistress, metaphysic, Kabbalistic, Almaroc mystic, patriarch, papistics, make my thoughts sadistic, so indigenous, call me Americanistic, invoking the ancestors, Saracen cryptic, suns on rotation, flows ecliptic, shatter all illusions, reveal the realistic, sitting in the dark, holding the light marvelous, recognize the artifice, skin so carbonous, hair so antenna, I feel them from Vienna, myriad of virtues, lessons in reptilian henna, enlightenment seekers won't find it in mainstream, focus as a laser, stay balanced like a beam, not even a gymnast, whenever I flip this, as above so below, get out when within this, don't think I'm a slave cause I speak in English, Drew Ali the water, watch your flames get extinguished, living in your higher lower self is relinquished, reputation of master teachers, call it distinguished.
Common sense was made before book sense. Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense Quick.
Legendary, bury me in the North Gates Cemetery, February the 4th days. Son of Mary, day ahead of my born day. Independence alarm, make 7 literal lost case. With case laws, we break them down like Jericho. Keeping all my lions tamed, I'm Chris Jericho. I'll keep a mask on deck, I'm Rey Mysterio. Fake pandemics announced over the radio.
Common sense was made before book sense. Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense Quick.
Legendary, bury me in the North Gates Cemetery, February the 4th days. Son of Mary, day ahead of my born day. Independence alarm, make 7 literal lost case. With case laws, we break them down like Jericho. Keeping all my lions tamed, I'm Chris Jericho. I'll keep a mask on deck, I'm Rey Mysterio. Fake pandemics announced over the radio. Annoyed with the game, the joys and the pains. I'm Rob Bass, mixing with rock the hard way. I was in a lost state. Prophets stood me up right, brought me to a lost gate. Cooking like I'm Scarface, rapping like I'm Denzel. Malcolm X, Deja Vu, Roman J, Israel. And overdue, I lay in plain sight. But people still can't see it, so the snake's still showing up. The snake's still high, so the race still going up. Warriors of the North Gate, we not slowing up. Born in the major, sworn to be savior. Walk through the valley of the shadows of the death dip in slavery. Looking for light, the book of Genesis. Astro plane interests, invoke the nemesis. Abstract images of past lives kicking in. Danger, running for your life. Finish him.
Morris Lamar, key man or oracle. Using Trinity powers, decipher allegorical. Lost and metaphorical, holy books are metaphysic. Facts slap a dirty more or a Drew Ali critic. Calling them Thomas or Walter and get your face caved. Or cut like a close shave. Drowned in my brainwaves. Squash my heat waves. Activating Kundalini. Abyssinia invaded by Mussolini.
Common sense was made before book sense. Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense Quick.
Legendary, bury me in the North Gates Cemetery, February the 4th days. Son of Mary, day ahead of my born day. Independence alarm, make 7 literal lost case. With case laws, we break them down like Jericho. Keeping all my lions tamed, I'm Chris Jericho. I'll keep a mask on deck, I'm Rey Mysterio. Fake pandemics announced over the radio. Annoyed with the game, the joys and the pains. I'm Rob Bass, mixing with rock the hard way. I was in a lost state. Prophets stood me up right, brought me to a lost gate. Cooking like I'm Scarface, rapping like I'm Denzel. Malcolm X, Deja Vu, Roman J, Israel. And overdue, I lay in plain sight. But people still can't see it, so the snake's still showing up. The snake's still high, so the race still going up. Warriors of the North Gate, we not slowing up. Born in the major, sworn to be savior. Walk through the valley of the shadows of the death dip in slavery. Looking for light, the book of Genesis. Astro plane interests, invoke the nemesis. Abstract images of past lives kicking in. Danger, running for your life. Finish him.
Morris Lamar, key man or oracle. Using Trinity powers, decipher allegorical. Lost and metaphorical, holy books are metaphysic. Facts slap a dirty more or a Drew Ali critic. Calling them Thomas or Walter and get your face caved. Or cut like a close shave. Drowned in my brainwaves. Squash my heat waves. Activating Kundalini. Abyssinia invaded by Mussolini. Selassie I in exile. Reptile in Genesis. Niggas appearing real. All I see is false evidence. DNA are feminists. Stomped on by elephants. More like more prejudice, but want Moorish benefits. When you feel the pro-magnetic resonance. Apis horns of the sacred book, all maleficent. Great cosmic mothers. Return to blessedness. No pestilence. Ace all the testaments. Tap into remembrance. Never to forget again. Use energy right, not put spell effects on men. Wandering the earth plane with more veiled shades. Keeps you a mental slave as the horizon fades. It's been decades since Christian crusades. Not enough rebellions, too many vigil bouquets. Holding on to the fence, burning on doomsday. War ruled by Mars, it might be on a Tuesday.
Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense Quick. What we do here is we add some common sense thinking to everyday situations or comments that may arise. Want to give it a try?
Want to give it a try? Islam Moors, we're back. We're back. We're back again. We're back again. Because they didn't even give me the countdown last time, so definitely gonna have to go again. Because they didn't give the countdown. Because We can't do all that and not put an hour in on Drew Ali today. We can't go in on all that and not give Drew Ali his little hour. So we could just give some honors to the man of the hour, the man of the day, the man of the month, the man of the year, the man of the century, Noble Drew Ali. Honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Supreme honors to the Prophet. We wanna go to the more. Grand Sheik put this one out earlier today. And there was somebody was in the chat, was in the thread, talking about this was meant for some YouTube thumbnail or something. But we give honors to the Prophet. And when people start playing with Noble Drew Ali, they need to get checked. Because they shouldn't be playing around with Noble Drew Ali. They shouldn't be playing around with anything that Drew Ali brought. Because it's just not right. It's just not right. One of the things that you could do, you can go to rvbaypublications.com and you can get the book addressing the BS that people tried to pull on Noble Drew Ali by Taj Tariq Bey. And one of the things that we got from that was how people were playing around with today. July 20th, 1928, the day that Our Authority was filed, the day that Noble Drew Ali put it on the record, the day that it got put on the record, that this is going to be a religious corporation. There's going to be a corporate name applied to the Moorish movement. And recognizing that it was a move by Noble Drew Ali in order to cover the bases for all the Moors, so no Moors are left out. In the book, he talks about Our Authority, and among other things, but they talk about in Our Authority how things were changed and why the confusion with the Moorish movement, not only the confusion amongst the Moors, but confusion amongst the people who are on the outside looking at the Moorish movement, because they really didn't get what it was that was going down. And some of the Moors have been saying this for a little while, that, you know, when Drew Ali made his statement that he's here for the young and unborn, he was talking about us Moors today. He was talking about the Moors who were going to be in the future with their eyes wide open, and that would be game to carry out what it is that Noble Drew Ali established. So when we go into the Moorish literature, and Noble Drew Ali, just one of the versions of the Moorish literature. But there's an article in there from Friday, October 26, 1928. October 26, 1928, where the Moorish leader was making a historical message to America. Historical message. Because there was a lot of confusion with regard to what this divine and national movement was really about. So opposed to leave it up to speculation, Noble Drew Ali addressed it, like he did with many things, because nothing was left up to speculation when it came to him. Everything that needed to be addressed was addressed, from traders in the Moorish movement to laws and customs that Moors should be establishing. So in the Moorish leader's historical message, this is what Noble Drew Ali presented. In connection with the aims, objects, and rules and regulations of the Moorish Science Temple of America, I deem it proper to submit to you a brief statement of our organization, covering its inception, rise and progress, and of the Mohammedan religion, which I hope will be satisfactory to you and be the means of causing you at all times to adhere to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice in your relations with mankind in general. I further most anxiously hope this brief statement would help you to more clearly see the duty and wisdom of at all times upholding those fundamental principles which are desired for our civilization of our posterity, such as obedience to law, respect and loyalty to government, tolerance, and unity. All right? So remember that this is from October 1928. It's from October 1928. We have our authority, which tells us that in July 1928, this affidavit was filed. And the affidavit was filed in order to establish this religious corporation called the Moorish Science Temple of America, that, that name is often used today when it comes to, talking about what Noble Drew Ali brought. Now, what's interesting is that this is why, again, we go to this thing about the traders of the Moorish movement and this idea of individuals having their own thing that they wanted to do, right? So our authority, it reads, I, Noble Drew Ali, Moorish Holy Temple of Science, held at Chicago in the county of Cook and State of Illinois on the 20th day of July 1928. For that purpose, the following persons were appointed sheikhs according to the rules and usages of such Moorish Holy Temple of Science. And then you have some other people floating around a document called Our Authority that says, I, Noble Drew Ali, Moorish Science Temple of America, held at Chicago in the county of Cook and State of Illinois on the 20th day of July 1928. For that purpose, the following persons were appointed sheikhs according to the rules and usages of such Moorish Science Temple of America. So we go back to Noble Drew Ali's historical message to America. We organized as the Moorish Temple of Science in the year 1925 and were legally incorporated as a civic organization under the laws of the state of Illinois, November 29th, 1926. The name Moorish Temple of Science changed to Moorish Science Temple of America, May 1928, in accordance with the legal requirements of the Secretary of State of Illinois. Why is it that Noble Drew Ali is telling you that the Moorish Temple of Science changed the name to Moorish Science Temple of America, but then individuals are going to tell you that Noble, Nobel, Prophet Drew Ali had some black Moorish science thing, and the black Moorish science was the Moorish Science Temple changing its name to the Moorish Science Temple. Why would Moorish Science Temple change its name to the Moorish Science Temple? It doesn't even really add up. Right? It doesn't even really add up. Now, we go back to this post, and the Moor said, Islam. This is the happy July 4th. This is our authority day. Today is supposed to be our Independence Day. And then there's this flyer talking about a $2.3 million reward to be paid to all Blackamoor nationals. Divine Original Asiatics, inspired by Noble Drew Ali. But then they're going to quote Noble Drew Ali, one day you are going to look out into the streets, and the streets are going to be filled with turbans and fezzes, and the highways are going to be blocked. And they spell Noble, Nobel. Nobel. The same people who put up the fake R Authority, telling you that Moorish Science Temple changed its name to Moorish Science Temple, when the name change, according to Noble Drew Ali, was the Moorish Holy Temple of Science to the Moorish Science Temple. We go back to Noble Drew Ali. The object of our organization is to help in the great program of uplifting fallen humanity and teach those things necessary to make our members better citizens. A national organization with a Rotarian complexion as it relates to branch temples became obvious with the increasing number of inquiries from men and women in different sections of the country concerning the purpose of the organization. There are branch temples in 15 different states at this time. Since the work of the Moorish Science Temple of America was largely religious, the organization has legally changed to a religious corporation, and an affidavit to this effect has been properly filed in the Cook County Recorder's Office in Illinois. Now, a few things. The work of the Moorish Science Temple, remember this is October. All right, so July, the civic organization adopted as the corporate name Moorish Science Temple. And from July to October, it was understood that the work was largely religious, because all these individuals that were coming into the Moorish movement at that time were of some type of religious persuasion. And they weren't even at the level of civics. The civics part of the Moorish movement is what the people today would call the adepts. The ones who knew the law. The ones who law was part of who it is that they were. The same civic-minded Moors were the ones that Drew Ali was making reference to of being active, because there's no activity in religious demonstration. Right? There's no activity there. There's nothing religious that you're going to do that is going to qualify as being active, unless you're exercising that religious right through civics. The only way that someone religious can be active is if that individual who's religious is enforcing their religious rights, their right to a religion. The clearest example that we have would be the Sikhs, the Buddhists, the ones who stand behind their right to a religion in order to get what it is that they want. This is where Noble Drew Ali was trying to lead the religious-minded Negroes who were coming into the movement to. because he knew that they weren't going to be active immediately. He knew that there had to be some type of graduation process for them to get out of the religious mindset into the civic mindset. And then once they got to the civic mindset, then they realized that the religious isn't really sing hymns to Noble Drew Ali and pray and all that stuff. The religious is really the idea of exercising the right. So when we talk about inspired, or when we go back to the Moorish leader's historical message, he goes on, inspired by the lofty teachings of the Quran, we have it as the revealed word of God Allah. We shall foster the principles of its teachings among our members. This is our religious privilege as American citizens under the laws of one of the greatest documents of all time, the American Constitution. Remember, because the work of the Moorish Science Temple of America was largely religious, as American citizens, this was a privilege. Being able to say that you're something other than Christian. Remember, this is 1920s when everybody was Jesus and Mary and Holy Ghost and all that stuff. Right? He was meeting them where they were by bringing them into the idea that he's a prophet of Allah. He brought the Moors a Quran, Koran. Inspired, the Moors, being inspired by the lofty teachings of the Quran, have it as the revealed word of God through Prophet Noble Drew Ali. We shall foster the principles of its teachings among our members. We must foster the principles of its teachings among our members. That's why Drew Ali told you, study your Quran. You want to be a good Moorish leader? Study your Quran. He goes on. The Mohammedan religion is the least appreciated and probably the most misunderstood of the world's great religions. This is especially true in our Western world, not their Western world. This is especially true in our Western world. Our people are going to tell you that West belongs to some Europeans, aren't they? Isn't that what people are going to say? When our people bring up the West, they always equate that to some Europeans. Right? Try to understand what Mohammedanism stands for and some of the things it has contributed to the world. Muhammad was the founder of the Mohammedan religion. Remember, he's bringing the people to a certain mindset. He's bringing the people to a certain mindset. Keep in mind, this is October 1928. Keep in mind October's convention. Keep in mind all the Moors are in attendance when he's talking about this. Keep in mind everybody was being told, because all the U.S. whoever's were at the convention too, because Drew Ali's the man. And again, the Moorish Science Temple of America being largely religious because everybody was in a religious mindset that was coming in. So because everybody was in a religious mindset, because all the individuals were in a religious mindset, he had to break it down for them so that they know exactly where their mind is supposed to be with regard to this information relative to quote-unquote religion. How come he didn't tell you Islamic religion? How come he didn't say the religion of Islam? How come he said the religion of Muhammad? What's the point of him stating it like that? Why is he saying Mohammedanism? Why isn't he saying Islam? Because Islam is really I, self, Allah, and master. When you see people say Islam today, they should really be saying Mohammedanism. Because if they say Mohammedanism, then you know that it's about the teachings of Prophet Muhammad. And then when you research Prophet Muhammad, you realize that he was a Sufi. He wasn't these Sunni Shiite stuff that you see these people doing. Prophet Muhammad was a mystic. He wasn't a religious guy. He was a metaphysician. Just go read the lofty teachings of the Quran, and you would see, you would hear, you would recognize that that is a metaphysical book. Just like the Bible is a metaphysical book, and the Torah is a metaphysical book, and all these quote-unquote religions are really metaphysics and mysticism. And the people have been played into thinking that religion is go to these buildings and go pray to somebody and all that. That's a fiction. To qualify the Mohammedan religion and Mohammedanism, he goes on. Muhammad was the founder of the Mohammedan religion. It originated 13 centuries ago on the Arabian Peninsula, where the streams of commerce and culture met and mingled in the Middle Ages, where the markets of exchange were stationed for treasures of India and the products of the Mediterranean coast. There, this religion was established in the unprecedented short period of 20 years, and unlike many other religions, without the aid of any royal patronage and support. Buddhism had its Ahsoka, Judaism its Joshua, Christianity its Constantine, but Mohammedanism had no person of royal rank and power to assist in its establishment and spread. Now, how come you say Christianity had its Jesus? Why did Christianity have its Constantine? What is he relating to these individuals who are coming into the movement claiming that they love Jesus and all that stuff, that they've been played? And Drew Ali's giving them all the keys. Drew Ali's giving them all the keys. When Drew Ali said, I took away all the secrets and all that stuff, he wasn't playing around. He took away all the secrets. He revealed it all to the people. Which is why he became as Secretary of State Hughes was talking about the dangerous man. He ain't talking about no Kirkman Bey. Kirkman Bey ain't dangerous nothing. Because he ended up selling out the Prophet. The dangerous man was Noble Drew Ali. Today, this religion is acknowledged by nearly 250 million souls and extends over an area equal to 1/3 of the globe. From Arabia, it spread eastward over Persia, Turkestan, Afghanistan, westward across Syria, Asia Minor, Turkey, southward to Africa, covering more than half of that continent. It found its way to India and beyond, to the islands of Sumatra, Java, and Borneo. To the early representatives of this faith, the world's debt is incalculably great, for it was they who transmitted the treasures of Greek literature from the Middle Ages to the Renaissance. They who originated the graceful forms of which the Taj Mahal and the Alhambra are the most famous examples. It was they who contributed to the sciences of algebra and chemistry, astronomy and medicine. They who dotted the Saracen Empire with universities and who built at Baghdad and Cairo the most renowned universities of the world. During those centuries of ecclesiastical despotism, when the Christian church suppressed all intellectual activities save those that were theological, causing the talent that reproduces to supplant the genius that creates. Mohammedans did all in their power to encourage and stimulate research in every branch of human inquiry. That sound like religion to you? That sound like go to the mosque and do salat and all that stuff to you? That sound like that to you? He goes on. The Moors, or Mohammedans, added to the beauty and grandeur of Spain. For centuries, art, science, literature, and chivalry flourished among them, while the rest of Europe was still sunk in the gloom of the Dark Ages. The Moors, or Mohammedans, were the most ingenious and industrious of the subjects of Spain. Their expulsion from Spain in 1610 was one of the chief causes of decadence of that country, for both agriculture and industry fell into decay after their departure. And when that fell into decay after their departure, so did the grandeur that these Mohammedans presented, which wasn't religion, it was actually civilization, fell into decay as well. And all these individuals started talking about go to the mosque and all that stuff, and that's all they do. And all they do is pray. And all they do is tell you the Quran is the only book. Why would these people, now, according to Noble Drew Ali, these people brought sciences of algebra, chemistry, astronomy, and medicine. I'm pretty sure that's more than Quran then, right? I'm pretty sure they weren't going around with the Quran teaching people medicine, chemistry, astronomy, and algebra. I'm pretty sure if these people's libraries dotted all of Spain, and for centuries art, science, and chivalry flourished among them, they probably didn't only have a Quran as their book. If everybody was going to them to learn during the Renaissance, obviously, every classroom you went into of the Moors or the Mohammedans, they didn't just have the Quran there and they were teaching you Quran only. I bet you they won't. I bet you these ones today are going to try to convince you to the high heavens that Quran is the only stuff that you need to read and all that stuff. Keep in mind, this is during the convention, and Noble Drew Ali is relating this to the Moors, who already have this info, and the ones who are coming into this thinking that they know something about religion. He's letting them know that they don't know jack. He's letting them know that they've been played. He's letting them know that their perspectives have been wrong for a very long time. And the purpose of the Moorish Science Temple of America was to bring the people back into the mindset of their ancient foremothers and forefathers so they can realize that this stuff is way bigger than pray to some Allah and that's it. Pray to some God in the sky you can't see and that's it. He carries on. Mohammedanism makes no distinction between high and low, rich and poor. It is like the sky. It has room for all. The Quran should be of interest to all readers. It is the Bible of the Mohammedans, ruling over the customs and actions of over 200 millions of people. It is a work of importance whether considered from a religious, philosophical, or literary viewpoint. Oh, so Quran's not just a religious book then, right? If you can look at the Quran, the Bible of the Mohammedans, from a religious, philosophical, or literary viewpoint, then them pushing the Quran on people as some religious thing is an error. Because that's not the only way that it should be looked at. In the promotion of plans for the betterment of mankind, there has ever been some kind of opposition. And strange as it may seem, such opposition has come from sources where there were no ideas or the lack of courage to force attention to ideas. Whether in church, state, or the social community, any attempt to do anything out of the usual way seldom fails to receive criticism. Not because the course cannot be pursued legally or that it is unreasonable, but because it has been considered in terms of new. The Moorish Science Temple of America has received some opposition and criticism. In the main, the opposition comes from certain Christian ministers. They have expressed themselves as being opposed to our propagation. They have expressed themselves as being opposed to our propagation of the Mohammedan religion, possibly because the promotion of the Mohammedan faith among our people in the United States is considered by them in terms of something new. Going back to the state of the mindset of the foremothers and forefathers, which would mean that the new idea is looking at this thing as this is some religious thing and this is a religious holy book and that's it. When he already gave you the breakdown. He gave you the explicit breakdown that these people who had a Quran, they weren't just teaching religious stuff only. They were teaching alchemy, they were teaching astronomy, they were teaching horticulture, agriculture, and anything else that they could teach. Whatever the reasons may be for their opposition, the legal right to oppose citizens, individuals, and organizations alike for their religious belief does not exist in the United States. The door of religious freedom made by the American Constitution swings open to all, and people may enter through it and worship as they desire. Without religious freedom, no search for truth would be possible. Without religious freedom, no discovery of truth would be useful. Without religious freedom, religious progress would be checked, and we would no longer march forward toward the nobler life with the future holds for the races of men. Without religious freedom, there would be no inspiration to lift our heads and gaze with fearlessness into the vast beyond, seeking a hope eternal. It is a sad weakness in us, after all, to oppose our fellow men for their religious beliefs. And if there are angels who record the sorrows of men as well as their sins, they certainly know how many and deep are the useless sorrows that spring forth from such opposition. Possibly, love and time will cancel our ancient hatreds in this regard and prove that in mankind, tolerance is better than unwarranted opposition. In connection with our religious aims and beliefs, we must promote economic security. The preaching of economic security among us is by no means as widespread and intensive as the circumstances demand. No other one thing is more needed among us at this time than greater economic power, better positions for our men and women, more business employment for our boys and girls, and bigger incomes will follow our economic security. We shall be secure in nothing until we have economic power. A beggar nation, a beggar people, cannot develop the highest in them, nor can they attain to a genuine enjoyment of the spiritualities of life. Our men, women, and children should be taught to believe in the capacity of our group to succeed in business, in spite of the trials and failures of some of them. Trials and failures in business are by no means confined to any particular group of people. Some business ventures of all people fail. We have many men and women among our people who are qualified, both by training and experience, who are shining lights in the business world of all the people. It is a sad weakness in us as a people that we have withheld the very encouragement, support, and patronage that would have made some of our worthy business ventures a grand success, and worst of all, have joined in the condemnations of them when they failed, except in cases of actual dishonesty, discourtesy, lack of service, and actual unreliability. Our business enterprises in every field of endeavor should have lull of confidence, cooperation, and patronage whenever and wherever they can be given. Read carefully the doctrines of the Moorish Science Temple of America. It contains our hopes, aims, rules, and articles of religion. Every member should have a copy. In conclusion, I urge you to remember there is work enough for all to do in helping to build a better world. The problems of life are largely social and economic. In a profound sense, they are moral and spiritual. Have lofty conceptions of your duties to your country and fellow man in general, and especially those with whom you deal. This includes such honesty, righteousness, as will cause you to put yourself in the other fellow's place. Look for the best in others and give them the best that is in you. Have a deeper appreciation for womanhood. Brighten the hopes of our youth in order that their courage be increased to dare to do wondrous things. Adhere at all times to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I am your affectionate leader. I shall continue to labor day and night, both in public and private, for your good. thereby contributing to the welfare of our country and its people as a whole. Noble Drew Ali. So if he's telling you all that in Moorish Leader's Historical Message to America, dealing with the fact that we have this day today to give honors to, that we have this religious corporation, Moorish Science Temple of America, that was a civic organization that adopted a corporate name so that corporate activity could take place amongst the Moors. And then corporate activity includes the commerce and the businesses and economic security and all that stuff. Clearly, this stuff's not religious. Obviously, somebody that's been holding our authority for ransom all these years has been playing games with you, having you think that this stuff is about some type of religious exercise, when this has nothing to do with religion. This has to do with taking your place amongst the affairs of men. And when you go check all these other men's affairs, you realize that they don't put their religion out front unless you ask them. They don't demand that you, well, we're Buddhists, so you have to. No, they want your finance. You got some finance? We got some products over here. If you got some finance, whether it's hair, whether it's convenience store, come get whatever it is that you want. We sell you thumbtacks if we have to. And they don't even care what your religion is. They want your finance. And I guarantee you, because they look at it like that, they have economic power. Because they're not playing religious games and they keep their religion to themselves, they have economic power. So don't get caught up and lost. Honors to all the Moors on our Authority Day. Keep your goals grand and large and know that there's work for all of us to do. Honors to all the Moors worldwide and supreme honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Islam.